All right, welcome to the call. This is Daniel Harner, and this is Powerful Coaching Conversations with Powerful Coaches. So that's me and you. Now, Daniel, what would be a really great question to ask you to start this interview?
Ha! Well, if you would have told me that earlier, I would have thought about something
Yes.
really cool and exciting, and now I'm totally like caught off guard. It's like, oh my God, this guy doesn't know what to say at all now. But just joking, But
Sure.
I think he's like, whether it's coaching or life, I think one of the most important questions to ask oneself on a daily basis is like, who am I being? So
Wow.
like you could ask me, Daniel, why is it so important that we are not just focusing on our doing, but where we are being on the inside, like what space we're coming from? Why is that so important as a coach, and why is it so important in normal life?
Well, so let me ask you a version of that question then. So most coaches, I imagine, who would see this are
Mm.
focused very much on what do I have to do? I want to be a successful coach. What are all the steps I have to take? What does it look like? What are each of the action steps? And then what you're saying is there's a very much important focus on not just what you're doing or maybe even not what you're doing, but more who you're being. So tell us, why is that important?
Yeah, it's like this. You come to this planet, you're born, and then you get a sort of like an instruction manual downloaded onto your nervous system or your mind and your heart, and then that's what you operate on accordingly. So it's like most of us get some negative programming that we get from parents or from teachers or from school or from some bullies or whatever, and we run with that. So it's almost like we come with a certain script or with a certain story that we run by. And I think in order for us to change the script for a more benign and a more merciful and a more loving story and for a more successful story that we live by, we have to tap into a part of ourselves that can be found in a being state. So, and most of us that are coaches are helping people with rewriting their script or their story or becoming more successful. But in order for us to really be powerful coaches, we have to find sort of like the key for ourselves inside of ourselves to unlock those parts where we actually can do the rewriting. So, for example, like I've gotten a lot of not so great programming in my life. It was like a glass half empty sort of a story. It's like okay, I got a lot of stuff to sit on. I don't think things are going to be working out. I feel like evil is going to win over good. And with that script in your mind, you're going to be working very hard to outperform your weaknesses all the time. So that's what my script in my first half of my life. I kind of felt like I had to do a lot in order to make up for all the bad programming that I had in my mind, right? So it took me a lot of time to really slow down enough for me to find that place within myself where I could actually get the key and unlock some of those parts of me, of my subconscious mind, where I could actually go in and have the trust with myself, find the trust, build the trust to go in and change my way of being. How am I being with my story, so I can actually bring the good, the silver lining out of this whole thing? And I can do this 80-20 switch where 80% might have been bad before and 20% was good. Now it's 80% good and 20% bad. Right? So, and I don't think you can really do that by doing more of what you have been doing. Like Einstein said, the problem can't be solved from the same level that it was created. So we want to get to that place, at this fork in the road, where you feel like, okay, I can actually live now. I can actually thrive now. I can actually do those things I always knew myself to be capable of doing, but now I have permission to do that. So I think that's why it's important to go into that being state, because it's the only place where you can find it substantially long term. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're in this for the long run. Wait a sec. I'm for some reason I can't hear you right now. Let
Oh
me
no,
check.
I got muted somehow. So
Okay, got it.
yeah. So what does that look like more specifically, right? If somebody's watching this, you're speaking of this being state, like what do you mean? What do you do?
Right. Well, I think in order to successfully do this, you have to sort of stop the rat race. And the rat race is not out there, it's really happening in your own mind. And most of us live like really fast, like fast thinking, fast doing, knee-jerk reaction kind of stuff. And sometimes even when we think we're doing things reflexively and in a conscious way, even then we're kind of running on autopilot. So I think one of the ways how you can reverse the trend is to really get your own coaching, and to have a person that is really being vulnerable, authentic, related, and also really creative with their mind and helping you uncover those things that are holding you back. So that's the relational dimension. You can have somebody in your life that is a mirror for you, that they can really unlock those parts inside of you. And the other thing is then really doing your own inner work and being really honest with yourself, and really learning how to slow down, to become your own best friend, to really learn how to feel again, because sometimes you just don't want to feel anymore, because what I uncovered within myself and in my clients is that a lot of things are frozen. So, and when you have a lot of frozen energy inside of you, then it's just got that there's not going to be enough juice for you to really run your life on that more joyful level. So slowing down, befriending yourself, and really learning how to feel, and then also learning how to think appropriately again. So none of us has gotten the operations manual for living well. It's not something that you get taught in school. You get taught math and language and all sorts of things, but nobody gets taught like, how am I being the most beautiful human being, the most loving human being, the most like compassionate human being. Like, it's like that you got to discover on your own, by getting your own therapist, or by really failing hard and going to 12-step meetings, or by getting a coach. So it's all self-taught at that point. At that point, it's like the way we got it right now. So, and for me, it was like, I went to university. I went 10 years of university study, and there I didn't find really what I wanted to acquire. It wasn't life-changing for me. What was life-changing for me was my own life experience, but also the input from other people that I really valued, which were all my mentors that I studied with. So that's what worked for me. That was the formula for me. And I'm not complete by any means, but I'm at a place where I can speak about this in a way where it makes sense to myself now and to my clients.
That's beautiful. And Daniel, you're a psychotherapist, a PhD turned full-time life coach. Do you do psychotherapy anymore?
Well, I was trained in that, and the reason why I trained in that is because I was a question mark to myself for so long. I really didn't understand why I was hurting. I didn't know why people did what they did around me. So I really thought psychology is going to be the answer for me. I read Carl Jung. I fell in love with that because he was a person that was both spiritual and both psychological, and both like really like open to ideas. So I went into that, and after that, I found that that's not even taught at university anymore, what Carl Jung was saying, then because I didn't want to be in the box, and because I didn't want to come from that place of separation and that clinical attitude and that sort of professionalism where a lot of the personal matter of a person's being is not really brought so much into the equation, I said, I'm going to do my own thing at some point. And that for me was going into what feels more like psycho-spiritual mentoring. So I know it's a handful to say, but it's a combination of like a psychological work, deep inner work, shadow work, infused with spiritual work. And and all the psychotherapy goes into that as well, So there's this real like, I'm doing at this point, I'm the sum total of everything that I've experienced, and that's what I'm doing right now. So some people call me a mentor, some people call me a coach, some people call me a therapist, but I'm all of that and none of that at the same time. So if that
Wow.
makes sense. Yeah.
That does make sense. That's very powerful right there. I am all of that and none of that at the same time.
Yeah, because I'm a presence. I'm a being state, and I'm expressing myself through what I've learned and through my story. But I'm not limited to that, I'm more than that. So I'm presence. The presence that's why I say the being state is so important, because that unlocks everything. That's the way how you can then play with your own story and everything that you've learned.
Yeah. Then I'm curious, in working with your clients, you're talking about deep inner work, spiritual work, shadow work. What are some things from your coaching, or however you want to label it, that you actually do with your clients?
Well, first of all, I think a thing that's missed a lot of the time is really deep listening. Okay. When you really deeply listen to somebody, you're gonna hear stuff that you might have missed before. So what I'm doing is like I'm just offering my presence, which is the most valuable thing I have available, right? So it's like I'm bringing all of me, all of my senses, all of my mind, all of my heart, and all of the love that's inside of me, to be with another person, to absorb that person's reality, to take it in and then feed it back through my eyes and my speaking and my heart, to that person, and they get a different picture of themselves, right? It's like, okay, I'm seeing and hearing you this way. How does this look to you? If that person is lighting up, and if that person is feeling like something's just like ignited inside of them, then I know I've done something good. So
Wow.
it's precision, but it's also really simple. You don't have to be a PhD in this to do this. You just have to become an expert at being yourself.
Well, that's really powerful. So what you're saying is being with somebody in your whole being, using all of your senses, really being present with them at a much higher level than what would probably happen outside of the sacred space of the coaching relationship. And then at times reflecting back to this other person, this client, what you see, what you feel, which is to shine a mirror on them. That's essentially the work you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like our reality really operates a lot on contrast. And what I mean is, like, when you look at something, for example, like a lamp in the room or something, it's contrasting against something else. So that's the reason why you can see, like, even a lamp or the sun or a house. It's like all based on our visuals, and our sensory perception system is kind of like a contrast detection system. So if I am a very clear screen, and if I am a very big presence that I'm holding for my client, then I can see contrast. I can see different contours, and there's just a magical alchemy created through that differential that's there between me and another person, because I'm different. I have different life experiences. That person's different. They have different life experiences. But those two things coming together creates a very specific and very beautiful dance. And exploring that dance will create some form of magic. It's like something that has never existed before is coming into existence. It's almost like giving birth to something that's never been there before. And that is absolutely transformative and beautiful, and the most beautiful thing to do, because
Wow.
what you can see in another person, you bring that into actuality. Every person is a walking potential, right? Every person has this like big backpack with beautiful stuff inside, and they come to you, and if you can point out what they got inside somewhere by you seeing and feeling and listening deeply, then you are giving this person the biggest gift ever, because they get to keep that for the rest of their life.
Yeah, what you're seeing in another person, you're bringing into actuality.
Exactly.
Oh, that's beautiful. So can you give an example of something that a client might share that you then reflect back to them and how that worked?
Well, one thing is really a huge piece is that sometimes people don't give themselves credit enough how amazing they are. And it's almost like they're coming with the 20% and then I'm not seeing the 80%. So when somebody's speaking about their story, they're usually speaking from the 20%. Oh, this is what happened to me, or this is what I'm going through, or this is what I'm thinking right now. What you're trying to do is just like, okay, you're giving me the small picture, I'm giving you the big picture. So can be a relationship. It can be a relationship to yourself. It can be a problem with your spirituality. It can be a problem with your business, because at that point it's like, when you're doing that with something, you're doing it usually with everything. And when you get to that place, you're really going into that one little place inside that person, and you twist that knob, and all the areas in their lives are going to be changing. So, and then it's just usually something to do with your relationship to yourself. How are you fighting yourself instead of really befriending it? So once you can see the silver lining in something, I mean, lots of doors are opening up, lots of doors opening up. Receiving things that you thought you would never receive before, like love finding you in very mysterious ways, like not so mysterious really, but miracles happen when you touch that space within oneself, where you open your heart, and your mind and your heart become like friends with one another. So I don't work on really goals with clients at all. I know their deepest heart's longing is to go home to themselves. Once they have found that home within themselves, usually the objectives that they came in with are not that important anymore. And then really, when the urgency drops within yourself, when you find that inner peace, you know that things are coming to you, because you just now got out of your own way.
That's amazing. I love this. Does the client know, the prospective client, how this is going to work as they enter into to agreement with you, specifically around your lack of focus on goals, which I imagine in many cases would be really what they're wanting. And I totally get that when you get to a place of deep inner work and realization, the goal doesn't matter. It's who you become along the way.
Yeah.
Do they know that?
Some people come in as living question marks. Some people come in as this like, I don't know why I'm here, but I feel this strong pull to be with you. Okay, it can't be that diffuse. Others said, oh my God, you helped this person so much with this problem, and I want you to do the same thing for me. It can happen too. But as a rule of thumb, what the client gives you is just like a bone, like it's like a little bone. You don't pick it up because you got to look deeper. That's what they're paying you for. They're paying you for the 80%, not for the 20%. Okay, so and sometimes it may be a really valuable thing what they're sharing with you. But I'm just saying, it's like, listen deeper, go deeper with it, and give people the gift of your time and give them a little sample and an experience of what it's like. Because especially when you work the way I do, it cannot really be explained. I don't give them a treatment plan and say, okay, session 1, session 2, session 3. It doesn't work that way. It's a sacred alchemy that develops. So I give them a sample and an experience of what it's like. And they have to feel like an urgency or a call or a feeling inside of them that they cannot explain, that something's calling them home. When they feel that, then they have confirmation. They have confirmation, not from them or from me, but it's almost like a spiritual kind of like constellation that takes place, that they need to do this. Okay, I'm not convincing, I'm not selling. They're at this point experiencing already what's going to happen. It's just like two people come together with a beautiful intention, and miracles are going to be happening.
That's amazing. I totally get it. So then you're essentially giving them an experience of what it's like to be with you. And then either they feel deeply compelled to want to do the work, even if they don't know what it is. It's not like you have to, have a specific proposal step call where you're, helping them to create a vision for what would be possible and all this kind of stuff. It's just, let me be with you. Let me serve you. Let me listen to you with every part of my being. Let me probably have no intention, no ideas, any of it, just this act of being with someone, and then they either want to continue to be with you or not.
Yeah, some people run from that because for some people it can be too much, because sometimes it's just a density in that kind of intention. Because it's not that don't have an intention. Of course, I have an intention to be of greatest service to the person I'm with. Right now, I have the intention of making the most beautiful conversation happen with you, so your audience and so your listeners can benefit from our dialogue. It's
Yeah.
like a real selfless existence, like you're offering everything that you are to somebody, and it can look very differently with different people. So depending on where they're at on their stage of development, right? Sometimes you might start out with little tiny baby steps with somebody, but you're always trying to give them a more complete picture of who they are. When they're falling in love with that, then you know that they're getting it. It's just like, yeah, I love this. They're like, yeah, I love the way how you see me. I love the way you talk about me. I love the way what you see is possible in our work together. So I do give them those things, because otherwise it'd be too bare bones and there's nothing to hold on to. It'd be too spiritual in that sense.
Yeah.
So you got to get both the human mind and the heart and the inner child of a person involved and passionate and fun. It's like it's not all that serious. It's the perfect mixture between serious and fun. And exploration and curiosity and dancing together.
Yeah.
But you've got to bring everything that you are to the table too. So the more you hide, the less magic is possible. If you bring all that you got, it's guaranteed that amazing things happen.
What I want to describe as the lower level of coaching or being with people is very much focused on solving problems. And I
Mm.
think in the coaching space, that's what a lot of coaches are trying to do, especially in the beginning before they understand what coaching really is, until they've gotten to that place. And so what you're describing is a completely different place. Probably what's true is there are no problems. I mean, it's a completely different way of seeing things.
And once you fall in love with yourself, it's like every problem is an invitation to bring a bigger you into everything that you're facing limitation with in your life. So, and once you're making friends with yourself, like all the problems again, it's just morph into other things. So don't get hung up. Take the problem seriously. Don't get me wrong, but also wear them lightly too, because they can easily just have a completely different appearance. Yeah, for sure. And
But
often we're contributing with the problem. I mean, always we're contributing to the problem. So if you extract yourself from it, usually it kind of becomes insignificant, right?
yeah,
So,
when you were starting out creating this business,
mhm.
was it different than it is now? Was it hard? Were you efforting more? Was it, trying to figure it out? What it was,
Yeah, for sure.
okay.
Yeah, I think in the beginning I was really timid because I felt that I gotta make sure I'm doing the right thing. So was I kind of what the proper thing, because
Yeah.
I have pretty high standards for myself, what I do and what I say and what my boundaries are. So I think the way it's changed is that I am much more comfortable with just being out of the box, meaning like I'm more creative. I'm bringing more of all that I am into it, and I think that just comes with experience and with time. So it's like maturation. You just trust yourself. You just know that things are going to work out. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, this is not working out. Like, it's like, no, it's working out. I'm doing the right thing. I'm making miracles happen. I'm inviting that space into it, and it's just different degree of comfort and playfulness. Because if when I saw my work as a healer, counselor, guide, coach, whatever you want to call me, as work, it usually didn't work out for me, because then it was something I needed to do. When I see work as just like play, then it's something I get to do, and I get to enjoy myself. It's just not work. It is just it's just a part of my life that I'm just a channel. I'm just a channel for service and love and for insight. So, and I do that with everybody, with my neighbors or with my friends, or it's just like coaching is not in any way different than the rest of my life.
That is so beautiful. I remember when we spoke last, you shared that you will invest 50% of your income in your own personal development.
Right? And I've always done that. I've always done that. And I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that. So it's like, again, that wasn't a conscious decision at all. That wasn't a thing that I read somewhere and then I did it. It was because I felt like, all right, I'm falling in love with that person. I need to learn from that person. I like that person so much that I would regret it if I die at the end of this life and then look back and I say, oh, I didn't study with that person. You know what I mean? So I gotta say, like, this is the greatest opportunity in my life. I would gladly give everything or already half of my paycheck, to be with that person, because my life depends on it. So it's not just, I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but there's a degree of feeling like, if I don't get this at that level, that person understands this kind of thing that I want, then I'm missing out big time. So, I'm still in that stage where I feel like I got still a lot of things to learn, and I'm not never gonna stop learning. I'm always going to be learning. And if there's somebody out there that knows more than I do, then thank God. That's a good thing. It's not a humiliating or a sign of defeat. It's like, great, I got to learn more.
That's so good. And how many clients do you take on at any given time?
At this point, I work with 12 at a time, and I don't do any group coaching. I just do individual. So that's the word. That's the sweet spot for me.
That's
Because
beautiful.
I love being that with that one-on-one context, and really just like a family, like a tribe. You just see like plants grow over time, and you're very proud of what's happening.
Do they know each other?
Some of them do, but most of them don't.
Okay.
They come usually from different walks of life, live on different parts of the planet, but it's they all got something in common, and sometimes I do think about connecting them, and it would be fun actually. Yeah.
Do you, how often do you coach with them?
I coach with them bi-weekly or weekly, and sometimes once a month, depending on where they're at in their progress. Some people are on a maintenance dose. Sometimes they just are flying and they just need a monthly reminder. Some people are really good with the 2-week break in between. That's what I'm doing with my coach. So I'm really good with having a big dose and injection, and then really working and integrating that for 2 weeks, and then getting my next injection. Sorry for the bad metaphor, but
Oh, no.
and some people need more hand holding, and they'll come weekly, and they'll usually shorter sessions. If I see them every other week or once a month, it's usually 90 minutes or so. If I
Okay.
see them a week, it's usually 60 minutes. So that's the way it rolls right now.
Oh, I got it. Weekly, 60 minutes generally, every other week, twice a month, an hour and a half, once a
Usually,
month, an hour and a half. How
usually,
long are the agreements? How long do they coach with you for?
and they're all a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Will you
yeah.
coach people for less?
For like 3 months or six
6
months.
months? Yeah, it's 3 months.
If there was a really like tempting proposal to do that, but I've never seen anybody be complete in 6 months. So I mean, yes, but then it's more project work, you know what I mean? So if it's more like project or problem work, yeah, you can work shorter for sure. But the way I work is more like being work, so it's more you have to take a much bigger yeah, piece out of the whole thing. So it takes long. You got to look at so many things, and it takes a little time.
When you start a coaching call with somebody, what is
Mhm.
the first thing you say? What are you saying? Are you talking to them? Are you asking them a specific question? How does it look like?
Well, sometimes I joke around a little bit, you know. Sometimes it's just making a little light of the beautiful weather or the cool things that are going on. And sometimes it's just being silent, and sometimes it's doing a little check-in, seeing what's happened, what the client wants to share first before we
Okay.
go into more the creative portion of. And sometimes clients want to talk for a while, and I'm just listening. And then the later half of the call, I'm giving them my reflections and my input. So it's very different. So you have to respect where the person's at in their journey. Some really need a lot of sharing, and others need a lot of experiencing you know. And some need more in present moment, kind of keep touching one another, like, you know, what's going on for you, what's going on for me, and others need more like, you know, more like problem creation, kind of problem solving kind of work. So it's very I'm creative, as you can tell. So yeah.
So good. If you have 12 clients and suddenly you have 3 or 4 people who get referred to you, they want to work with you, but you've got these long-term agreements going, what do you do with those people then?
Yeah, I keep a conversation. I offer them a conversation because I think I want to know good people, and for me it's like, you know, if I'm and I'm relying on my own intuition in this point too, where I feel like I really like this person. Like, it has to be mutual. You know, if they really like me, I usually like them a lot too, and I gotta see something special in them, or I gotta feel like, oh my god, I got something for them, and I want to share it so bad with them. You know what I mean? It's like I can't wait that I will spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times with you. You know what I mean? So when people reach out, they're often not at that stage yet. They have sort of like a kind of an idea of why they want to work with me, but it kind of becomes more clear, usually after 1 or 3 talks, that this is what's on the table here. This is like, sooner or later, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And yeah, sometimes people coach with other coaches, and not everybody needs to coach with one person. And there's some people get their needs met elsewhere, and some feel like you're the only one. And I love people that feel like, yeah, I'm the only one. You know what I mean? So not because I'm special, but it's like I like the alchemy to be specific. It's like, yeah, we got something really unique going on, and I'm learning from every client too. It's not just that I'm giving. You know, it's just like I am getting something too. It's
Yeah,
just a reciprocal relationship. You know.
that's great. And you coach with Steve Hardison right now.
Yeah, ultimate coach. I'm with the ultimate coach. I'm so privileged to be seeing him every other weekend, and I'm the ultimate client.
There you go. That's great. Yeah, that's what I am as well.
If he can figure out this puzzle that I am, then he deserves the title ultimate coach.
I love that. There you go. And what do you pay him a year?
Well, since I see him every other week, I pay him 100,000.
Wow. And you pay that all up front?
Yeah, I paid it last February, and I said to Steve that I wanted to coach with him, and he said, "Yeah, send me the check, and we'll get all the dates in the schedule, and then we'll meet, and we'll work on anything that you want to work on."
Wow. And you're in Sedona, Arizona. He's in Mesa, right? So it's a 2 hour drive, 3 hours, something like that.
Oh yeah, it's the best drive ever. You just feel
Coming out of the mountains down into the valley. Is that what it is?
people drive, and then you already think about what's going to happen, and you feel already the things that are coming up that will be worked on, and then you drive home and you feel like, wow, this is the most. I got my mind bent and my heart opened, and I'm just feel like there's nothing else I want to do than to be in that state. So it's like you feel like you're just high on love.
High on love. Do you like convertibles?
You know, I am not in love with them yet. I mean, I could be talked into it. I'm not sure, but at this point, no. Yeah.
I just was curious. So this has been really wonderful. I want to end the call by asking you 3 quick questions. This will be a fun lightning round.
Yeah, that's fun.
First question is, what's your biggest fear?
Boy, Biggest fear would be not fulfilling my potential. Biggest fear would be feeling like I've missed out or I left something undone in a way that is between me and God or me and the divine. So feeling like I missed something. Don't want to miss something. I want to unpack this whole damn thing. Yeah.
Really cool. And then what's your biggest dream?
Biggest dream is to be one with my higher self and letting that effortlessly flow through me so I can be the best service channel for everybody I'm with. So being love and sharing love. So that's really my biggest dream. The rest is all icing on the cake.
Beautiful. And then what's your number one tip for struggling coaches to get their businesses going?
Well, be part of your tribe. Coach with somebody that is as amazing as you are.
That's right.
I mean, it's like just the fact that how many people contacted me after our last interview just is like, I thought like, wow, this guy is doing something
It just
right.
keeps going, right? They keep contacting you.
Like, I don't know what he's doing. He's attracting amazing people. I mean, I really like the people that John got in his group. So I think by them being with you is an amazing, amazing choice. So keep doing more of that, keep renewing and find people that inspire you and learn from them. And I think that's the biggest, greatest tip for coaches. When I didn't have a coach, I was usually not doing as well. I must say that, it's just like, I always do better if I'm in a relationship with somebody that's guiding me on something I'm stuck with. And with Hardison, it's not like we're working on problems. We don't work on problems there either. I mean, we take the problem and we'll blow it up. So I'm seeing what does it mean about me? I'll go inside me, I change that, and then the problem goes away. So get a coach that's amazing, that blows your mind and touches your heart. That's the best business advice ever.
Dude, this is awesome. Okay. Hey, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Best way to get in touch with me is going on my website, which is my first and my last name.com, www.danielharner.com. And I'm not very present there, but people will find my email address, phone number, and some things that I've said or about me or about my work or how I work. It's all on there. So people are curious, they can reach out to me and be glad to meet some of your people.
I love that. You're not very present on there. Good for you. It wouldn't.
Oh, I'm really like a one-on-one dialogue kind of person. So
Yeah.
I'm on social media, but I'm not so much right now. Maybe more in the future. We'll see.
Good for you. And that's Daniel, Daniel Harner, HARNER.com.
You got it.
Got it. All right. Hey, thanks so much for this. And thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.